Okay, so I'm going to take you through creating an RE21, your purchase and sale agreement, line by line, broken into each page. ID number on this should be something unique. So a lot of people use the MLS number. That's okay. You could use MLS number with the last name. That's probably better. That way it identifies a little more detail on the transaction. So obviously the date that you're writing the offer, the listing agency. Now if you input the information from Flex MLS into this and you create the transaction through the system here, all of this will auto-populate. So I'm not going to go over the basics of that, but buyer should be, remember their full name, so whatever it looks like on their driver's license is what you should have on here. And we'll just say, you know, we'll use my name and we'll just say maybe I'm a single female, which obviously I'm not, but you want to identify whether they're married or not married, husband and wife purchasing together, or married woman purchasing as her sole and separate property, okay? Because the title company will need to create a quitclaim deed if that's the case. So purchasing as her sole and separate. And you're going to notice really quickly that I'm a super bad typer. Whoops. Okay. So commonly known as, and this is going to be the address, and all of this should auto-populate for you when you create the contact information for this. So city, zip, legal address, that should auto-populate as well, but if it doesn't, the legal address is found in the legal description on the MLS printout. So purchase price, we'll just say we're purchasing a home for $320,000, okay? Or maybe it's listed for $330,000 and we want to purchase it for $320,000. We put that in and we hit the tab button so that it will tab over and input the information there. This offer is contingent upon the sale, refinance, or closing of another property. So if they cannot buy this property until they sell a house they're in now, you need to check yes. If that's not the case, then you check no. Earnest money should be about 1% of the purchase price. Again, I tabbed over and it added it in here. I always want you to get a personal check. Personal check or cashier's check. We don't accept cash, and unless somebody forgets their checkbook or has no way to write an earnest money check, we won't be using a note. Okay, so we have a personal check. Remind your people that the check needs to be good because it will be deposited within 72 hours of acceptance of this offer. So earnest money to be deposited in trust account, and then I want you to mark other, and I want you to type in within 72 hours of acceptance. Okay. The earnest money needs to get from our office here to the title company within 72 hours. Otherwise, we'll get a fine, which we'll pass along to you. Okay, so that's the standard what I want you to put. And shall be held by, and then you put other, because we don't hold earnest money anymore, so we put a title company, whichever title company that your buyer wants to go with. Your responsible broker then would be Pat Krug. When we're representing the buyers, we typically hold the earnest money. Okay, so scrolling down, all cash offer, this is no because we're going to get a loan. If it is a cash offer, they'll need to show proof of funds, right? So cash proceeds from another sale, in this instance, it's no. Okay, I'm getting a loan. Let's just say I'm going to put down $50,000 and I'm getting a loan for the rest. Okay, I don't know what that, equates out to be percentage-wise. Most of the time you think you'd put it right here, but it won't populate that way. You've got to put it down here where it says first loan. So let's just say I'm getting a loan for $270,000. Okay, put it in here. I tab it over, and I'm getting a conventional. Okay, so I'm getting a loan for this amount, conventional, with interest rate not to exceed, and we'll say 4.5% because interest rates are going up, on 30 years and a fixed rate. Okay, See how when I put this in and I hit the tab button, it automatically showed up here? Okay, we don't have a second loan on this, and then you must fill in the loan application. Buyer has applied or shall apply. We don't work with unqualified buyers, so it should always be has applied for such loans. Okay, and then within 10 business days of final acceptance, all parties agree to furnish to the seller written confirmation showing lender approval of credit report, income verification, debt ratios, and evidence of sufficient funds necessary to close the transaction in a manner acceptable to the buyer or to the seller. What this basically means is within 10 business days of acceptance, your buyer will need to supply to the seller something from the lender that says the lender has already run their credit, checked their income, debt ratios, and knows that they have evidence of sufficient funds. This is a pre-approval. A pre-qualification is, yep, we call them on the phone. They say, yes, this buyer's qualified given everything they've told me verbally is true. Okay, this is hard facts. So you only have 10 business days. If you don't get that to the listing agent within 10 days, the listing agent and the seller have the right to cancel this contract. So they could, in essence, bump you and take another offer. And that's what this paragraph right here says. So it's crucial that your buyer understands that when you ask them to go to the lender and get their stuff together, they must do it. So this program auto-populates this number down here. This 46,800 is what I have to come to closing with, but it's not all I have to come to closing with. You see it says not including closing costs. There are costs associated with borrowing money, and those costs will be doc prep fees, loan origination fees, flood cert fees, all of these things that we have to pay for when we get a loan, okay? And that could be upwards of 1% to 3%. We don't estimate this. We ask the lender to tell us what it is, okay? So the borrower will need to come with $46,800 plus closing costs, probably about 3% of the purchase price. So $46,800 plus $270,000 plus the earnest money that I already put down as in a personal check should total $320,000. That is the end of page 1.